Welcome back to 101 East in Manila. Now, the continuing dominance of elite families in Philippines politics is often down to the fact that ordinary citizens are often too poor or just too scared to enter into the political races. One exception has been Grace Padaka, who took on the ruling D family in the northern province of Isabela and won. Here's her story in her own words.
I decided to run for elections because no one else wanted to. In our province of Isabela, where the dynasty has been holding office for so long, the opposition has been little by little dying. My name is Grace Padaka. I am the governor of the province of Isabela. An unlikely governor, they say. Unlikely because I'm physically handicapped. I was afflicted with polio since I was 3 years old. So until the time in 2001 when there was no other candidate for governor except the member of the D family. There was no other candidate for vice governor except his running mate. There was no other candidate for mayor except his brother. So I said, this is not what democracy is. This is not what I have been taught democracy should be. The second time that I ran for governor was much harder than the first time because this time they took me seriously. All the black propaganda was there, all the resources that they could muster. It's becoming worse every election time. The people who are doing vote buying are being more sophisticated every time. I have been governor for the 4th year now, and I hope that I will continue to have a good effect on people so that even if I do not run again for governor, the message will be left on them that it is important to elect good people in government. Here I am an example of somebody who's crippled but now who's the most powerful person in the country's second largest province. So I said, if I can do it with this physical handicap, you should do it also. I mean, you should have dignity. So I help people help themselves.
And to resume the discussion, I have with me Ben Lim of Ateneo University, Alex Briantes of the University of the Philippines, and Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri. Gentlemen, the story of Grace Padaka is perhaps one example, let me put this to you, Ben, of the fact that maybe there is an opportunity for non-dynastic individuals to get into politics. Are there enough such cases?
There are very few cases wherein they have a chance to be elected to public office. Especially.
Is there a trend in greater participation, in greater
The trend
election?
is for dynasties to continue. We are not seeing a kind of the rise of labor leaders. We do not see leaders from the farming sector. We do not see leaders from the fisheries sector, but we see leaders from the family.
Alex, you think that we are seeing a change?
We do. I really think we are seeing a change, not only at the national level, but mostly at the local level. But after having said that these dynasties, if you may, have been toppled, perhaps we should also look at the other side of the question about giving, quote-unquote, a chance to some of those who come from dynasty families who do well. I mean, as I've said from the very start, we should look at the specific context. This debate, perhaps, outright condemning, if you may.
Well, let's look at the specific context. The Philippines, yes, as a democracy, as an economy, yes, as a political entity, is well behind where most people predicted it would have been 50 years ago. The economic performance and the political performance lags most of the rest of Asia these days.
I'm looking particularly at the specific political administrative context at the local level. You have a local government code that encourages people to participate, and within the context of your local government code, you have seen people emerge as political leaders, whether they are members of the dynasties or not. They have somehow been able to participate actively in political engagement here.
Just to add to what Dean Brillantes has said and Professor Lim, basically, if you look at it, we are a very young democracy. If you review the history of the Philippines, you're looking at the democracy that started in 1987 with the Freedom Constitution. Basically, before that, we had a period of 20 years of Marcos rule. And we couldn't really, there was only one dynasty ruling the whole country. And now, there is that freedom to elect your own leaders, even up to the barrio level. And this is a brand new democracy, so it's very difficult to compare ourselves with the democracies of Singapore, of Thailand, of Malaysia.
I think the question that some members of the dynastic families are doing well is not enough justification for them to continue to hold office, because the poor people from the other sectors are not given a chance to be represented, and therefore one cannot say that if they are represented, they will not be doing good. The fact is they are deprived, and in a democratic system, you eliminate them precisely because of the preponderance of dynastic families.
Let's set aside that argument about some dynasties doing well. I think we've already established that. But in terms of getting people to participate in the political system, you have the Grace Padaka. And we have this,
in a country of 90 million people, one or two isolated
cases.
cases.
You have to start somewhere, I
But
think.
also, we'd like to also add the party list system. We're all forgetting that in Congress now we have about 30 or so members of Congress that are elected in the party list system, representing the fisher folk, the farmers, the laborers, representing the teachers. They're there. They're not from political dynasty.
Someone, Alex, let me put this to you. Someone saw fit to include in the Philippines Constitution, Article 2, Section 26, this phrase: "The state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and prohibit political dynasties, as may be defined by law." Now, that hasn't happened.
One has to begin somewhere. Okay, it's in the Constitution. There is no enabling law yet. But the point is that given the specific, I don't know if Senator Subiri would agree, the specific maturity of the political system, we are somehow evolving. So I think to apply advanced, higher standards at this point in time of our system that is evolving is not so fair. That's why I think we do have many laws. We do have a fundamental law at the Philippines, which is our local government code, that encourages that.
Okay, let's take that point up. There are many laws against corruption, against many of these such things. The question is, are they used? Has there been a significant political prosecution in the Philippines of any of the wrongdoers in a political level?
To begin with, the prohibition against dynasty being in the Constitution, and the fact that throughout these years there is no enabling law that is passed to prohibit political dynasties, shows that the people in power come from political dynasties, and they make sure that it will not happen. That is why there is no enabling law. It may be there,
but
you can always say it's a start, but as far as we are concerned, when are we going to start? In the next 100 years?
But you know, Timor, even the champion of democracy of the world, which is the United States of America, allows dynasties to continue. You have the Kennedy family.
You mentioned this before, and the analogy doesn't quite work because you have a population of 250 million and three examples of dynasties.
But
whereas here there are.
Name me a democracy that does not allow a dynasty.
But our point here being the extent to which the dynastic system takes root and becomes entrenched in the political system. And in the Philippines, that has become much more so than in any other country in the world.
But I also mentioned early on in the program that we need political finance reform. What's important here is the poor people giving a chance to spend funding coming from government, coming from legal sources, so that they have a fair chance to fight these dynasties. Without the absence of that, it's this same system that will continue.
Let me ask the basic democratic question. Your political dynasty that you live under may well be a very effective unit of governance in your home province, and I wouldn't for a moment suggest that it isn't. However, is it not a basic truth that the more active participation there is and the bigger change to the system there is, the more vibrant a democracy can be?
Absolutely.
Would it not benefit the people of your province to have a different leader once in a while?
Absolutely. The thing is, at the end of the day, when the options are shown and the options are put forward, even the leaders, the mayors of these different towns who represent the province, go up to the family and say, your son is the chief of staff, your son has done a great job. We want him to continue the programs that you have been doing from day one.
Is there a political future that's more democratic, as Alex is arguing?
Statistics from the UN has shown that in fact in most countries that have dynasties, they have the highest rate of poverty. Now we may wait for the next 100 years and maybe it will improve.
That's where we will have to leave it, gentlemen.
For many parts of the Philippines, the future is here. I've seen that at the local level now.
Yes, I agree with
gentlemen,
that.
there we will have to leave it. I appreciate your participation, all three of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And that's it for this edition of 101 East. Thanks for watching. See you next time.